You are born in a nest, high up in a tree. The nest isn't anything spectacular, just a pile of sticks barely holding together. However, your parents are absolutely thrilled, feeling as if they've built a luxurious apartment. Alongside you, your only brother is born, and he's instantly hungry like no one else. At first, you'll be fed only pigeon milk, but that will change over time. Unfortunately, pigeons are born completely blind, seeing nothing at all. The first few weeks in the nest pass this way until you grow a bit bigger and your diet expands. Your mother stays with you, taking care of you, while your father flies off to find food. This is when you get your first taste of different grains and seeds. However, your feast doesn't stop there. Your father has gathered something that likely isn't meant for birds, but your mother doesn't care and gives it to you anyway. Next time, your father surprises you again, this time adding leftover bread left behind by some elderly lady to your menu. You grow quickly, and soon you'll be able to cover small distances. You're well aware that there's an entire world beyond the nest, but for now, it doesn't concern you. Your only real priority is making sure you don't accidentally fall out of the nest. Looking down, you see a huge drop and know well that you wouldn't bounce off the ground. After about a month, your mother decides it's time for you to learn to fly. You have no idea how wings work, but you flap them anyway. Your first flight ends with an impressive belly landing on a lower branch. Not perfect, but it could have been worse. Your second attempt is even worse. You completely miss the branch and land in a pile of leaves on the ground. Luckily, you survive, but if anyone asks, you'll say it was intentional. After a few days of bruised pride and failed attempts, you finally manage to stay in the air. Flying is amazing until you realize you have absolutely no idea how to land. You aim for a branch, but crash onto the hard pavement instead. At this point, you can stay in the air for about 30 minutes and venture farther from the nest. During these flights, you search for food, though at first you struggle to distinguish between a piece of plastic and something edible. Trial and error is part of the process, and you quickly learn what's worth picking up and what to avoid. As you mature, you start gaining independence and stop returning to the nest. However, life outside the nest carries risks. A rustle in the bushes or a shadow passing overhead means you must stop, assess the situation, and act immediately. Most of the time, you're fast enough to avoid danger, but not always. Like the time you nearly became a meal for a common house cat. You had flown a little closer to a nearby house, hoping to find better food. When you spotted corn kernels, you couldn't resist, but that nearly got you caught by the neighborhood cat. Pigeons have a tradition of trusting humans and their surroundings, being friendlier than predatory, which isn't always in their favor. Besides cats, you have other natural enemies: falcons, hawks, martins, and sparrowhawks, though they're not your biggest concern. You should be more worried about crows, ravens, foxes, and, of course, cats. But beyond animals, some humans won't have your best interests in mind either. This mainly applies to breeders or young children who would love to catch and play with you like a toy. Your life is a constant cycle of searching for food, flying from left to right and right to left. But you also find joy in life. You can fly and annoy people. One time, you even dropped a white bomb right on a teacher's head. She was horrified, while the rest of the class found it hilarious. However, changes are coming, and your life must become more serious. Now that you're a full-grown pigeon, it's time to start a family and pass your genes to future generations. You set off on a quest until, in a park, you spot your chosen mate. After successfully showing your dominance, she accepts you, and you know one thing: you need to build a nest together as quickly as possible. The nest isn't anything great. In fact, it's even worse than the one you were born in. But hey, it only needs to serve one purpose: raising offspring. Your partner lays 2 eggs, and you both care for them as if your lives depend on it. For about 16 to 19 days, you do everything you can to protect them, until, around the 2nd or 3rd week, the chicks hatch. They are blind, just like you once were. Now it's your turn. Your partner stays with them while you gather food for the family. Raising chicks isn't as easy as it seems. They are surrounded by dangers, from predators to simply falling out of the nest. Since you've already survived this stage, you know where to hide, where not to go, and where to find food. Unfortunately, as you well know, food is the biggest struggle. Other pigeons have also learned where humans throw away bread, and they wait there to snatch it up. It's a race to get there first, and everyone tries to steal your prize. The fight for such a small piece of bread is always dangerous. You'll have to pass this knowledge to your chicks so they can survive and avoid being eaten by predators. Speaking of predators, constant vigilance is necessary. They'll need to watch out mainly for foxes and cats, so clever and fast that you're no match for them. Even humans can be problematic. Some kindly toss food your way, while others run at you, trying to scare you as if you had wronged them. Still, others might try to train you to fly in circles in captivity. That's the worst fate. You don't want to be turned into a pet like a cat or a dog. You never know what to expect. But let's not forget that life isn't just about constant stress. You sometimes get a moment to explore nearby areas, playing with sticks, testing new food sources, or simply observing the world from above. Your personal lookout spot. Your curiosity keeps you sharp, but it also occasionally gets you into trouble. This is life at the top. Cleverness, survival, and constant vigilance. Always one step ahead of everything and everyone. It's not a life of luxury, but you wouldn't trade it for anything. Yet soon, everything changes. One day, against all odds, something happens that you never saw coming. A hawk appears out of nowhere, knocking you from the tree. You crash to the ground, barely conscious, not understanding what just happened. After some time, a human approaches. He notices your body and crouches down, tilting his head as if trying to understand what happened. Gently, he nudges you, maybe even whispers something, not realizing that there's no saving you. He assumes the situation is old news, not knowing what truly happened. Your children and partner watch everything from above, with only one thought in their minds: the human killed you. That's all they need to know. Because they didn't see the hawk that could have attacked them too, they assume it was that human who did this to you. From that day forward, they do everything to make his life miserable, flying over him, dropping white waste on his head, and even attacking his car, turning it completely white. The poor guy has no idea why this is happening and thinks he's just incredibly unlucky. Life as a pigeon is tough, but see how life as a giant anaconda is even harder.